meteorologist Matt Lopon here, watching a potential for the remainder of tonight. What are we going to end up seeing? One of the big questions, unfortunately, that remains as we continue to have some thunderstorm chances. I'll say that the majority of our activity is probably over as far as tonight is concerned. At least, hopefully, we'll look at that in more detail with a storm tracker here in just a minute. As I kind of switch you over here to kind of what we're looking at as I'm getting my thing in place. So, sorry it's been such a crazy couple days. I mean, not that that's something that we can necessarily control here, but certainly has made for a tricky forecast, unfortunately. Um, but certainly looks as though we're going to continue to probably have some active weather into tomorrow. Uh, so just kind of the unfortunate trend in which we find ourselves right now with this. So I want to go ahead and kind of minimize that for a second here. For whatever reason, this has not gone into play. Give me a second here to force my system into place so you're looking at the same thing I'm looking at here. Just give me just a moment for that to happen. And for whatever reason, this has been kind of choppy today. We have a solution we're working on for that. So if this gets too choppy, I'll see if I can try to kind of pay attention to that as well. Let's get this into play. There we go. So same front, similar location. This will start lifting northward and out of here. Again, a lot more on that coming up at 10 o'clock, but I want to kind of address what we have out there now. Of course, that tornado watch remains in effect until 10 p.m., and there has been some discussion as to whether or not a severe thunderstorm watch will need to replace that later tonight. This is not nearly as impressive of storm chance versus what we had last night. So kind of one of the big headlines there. This is not the same situation what we had last night. So hopefully that is something that does continue to be the case. So looking at storm track Doppler radar as it stands as of now, what about almost 9:30 or so, we're mostly in the clear. And I know there's some folks out there like that's 2 watches, 2 days. We've had virtually nothing. Thankfully, hopefully that's the case. Looking back to the northwest, the majority of activity largely staying up there at this point. But again, it's not impossible that something kind of gets over here into kind of West Tennessee and does something tricky again. But the tornado threat, I do think, is diminishing. I don't know that it's going to go to zero at all, but it is diminishing. I was kind of working on here, and I'm still kind of structuring how we're going to handle this for our 10 o'clock broadcast. A couple things we're looking at on this graphic. This is storm ingredients. And so you're looking at where it's depicting the storms could be, but also kind of with the orangish color there, that'd be what we call CAPE, convective available potential energy. That's what that is. What I've layered on top there in kind of the black is what we call SIN, convective inhibition. It's what tries to kind of suppress storm development. And so I have this set the next 48 hours. So I would force this instead to go back. It's just I'm going to force this to go back, and it's model data going backward. I just want to give you a perspective, though. Going back a couple hours, you'll notice you have less of that kind of black over the top there going back a couple hours, because as we lose the heating of the day, that's when the convective inhibition, what kind of tries to stop storms from developing, becomes more of an issue. So that's one of the things that will continue to spread in the next few hours, and will then, as a result, limit the storm development. Now, there's still some spots where we do have, it's not inconceivable we could get a small zone where we still have storms try to develop associated with this, but the majority of the activity is occurring back here where you kind of see the black. What that means is this is looking at surface instability here, but you can still have moisture flowing northward. It hits the front, it lifts at a different level, and it produces storms. Point of that being elevated storms. What these are largely do not produce tornadoes. They might from time to time kick out a strong wind gust. They might produce hail or strong heavy rainfall, but they don't produce tornadoes. And so the majority of these are likely elevated and thus probably limited in their ability to produce tornadoes overnight. And as you can see, as that instability kind of builds northward for tomorrow, the primary front also lifts northward as well. We do see some of our projections trying to kick out more thunderstorms again tomorrow in the afternoon. As you see, we engage the heating of the day, and there's plenty of fuel out there. Those storms become a little bit more widespread. We're still working on exactly how we feel about this as we're cycling through all the models. But the takeaway should be that, guess what? We have some more storms tomorrow. But the peak threat for severe weather and tornadoes likely back, as you can see, to the north and west out there, assuming I can point my finger the correct direction there, as opposed to directly over us. Now, we still could have a couple strong storms, a non-zero tornado threat. More likely it'd be hail or something, heavy rainfall, things of those nature. but also less likely we just get those storms kind of follow the same line over and over and over again. We'll call training. That's where all the flooding potential comes from this. So again, early look at that. We're still sorting through that information here, and that's one of the things we'll have at 10 o'clock for you. But I think just kind of looking at the latest of what we're looking at, the storms back to the west clearly are not as impressive, not producing as many warnings as last night. So this is a completely different scenario, despite the fact same counties under a tornado watch that we had last night this time. The overall everything else is not as conducive for strong tornadoes. It's the purples you see there, the flash flooding potential, and even that is more kind of focused up to the north of us, up into Tennessee. So that's kind of the big headline here. What I'm working on, I wish I could give you a lot more information. I don't have a lot more right now because we're still kind of sorting through all of what we've had. Our meteorologist Gabe Maynard does have some drone video that we were able to get from some kind volunteer firefighter folks up there in Alcorn County a little earlier today. Um, Possible tornado, we will say. Gabe was able to get a good shot of a funnel himself, visually speaking, as he was driving along and with kind of the path there. It's not unreasonable that we had a tornado touchdown there in Alcorn County. But you'll be able to see, at least hear from some of the folks there that were lucky to get out alive from that thunderstorm. He'll have that at 10 o'clock. And I'll be looking in particular at Saturday. We're working to see how everything kind of flows together as far as Saturday is concerned. So that's probably our most widespread chance for thunderstorms. We will all see thunderstorms likely on Saturday, unlike the last few days where it's kind of been north and west, and tomorrow where it's fairly spotty. Saturday's an everybody thing, thus a greater opportunity to see severe weather just because it's everybody. Damaging winds, I think tornadoes still a possibility. We're working on trying to figure out the storm mode. Do we get the individual storms like what this has been on Saturday and then that's everywhere? Or more likely, do we get kind of some individual thunderstorms and a line sort of moving in through the area? They'll have the wind, things of that nature. So working that out right now. We'll have updates of that coming up at 10 o'clock as we hopefully have something a little bit more polished than what we've been putting on. These storms have been, timing out just wrong to where we don't have our typical polished stuff that's the nice, concise presentation. I got to get to work on that. And so that's what I'm going to be doing at 10 o'clock to hopefully kind of, in particular, nail down Saturday and kind of hopefully help you plan kind of around your weekend on that. But it is expected to be a day where, especially by the afternoon and evening, thunderstorms become likely, and some of those will definitely continue into the overnight hours. Just how strong will those be? That's something we're working on as well. So we'll have that for you coming up at 10 o'clock on WTVA. Keep it here for the latest. Our thoughts and prayers continue with those folks up in Selmer and other locations because unfortunately that we've had some significant weather. So Kevin says I need some sleep. You're absolutely right. I think we all need some sleep. And I do think there's a much better likelihood that we're going to get through tonight without any issues. And saying that, last night about this time, things started cranking up out in the Mississippi Delta, and it became very obvious that it was going to be a long night. So that's one of the things meteorologist John DeLucia, Gabe Maynard, and myself are watching just in case something cranks up again. So we're watching that potential. We're going to pray. We're going to move on real quick so I can get my stuff done. But God, thank you for protecting these people and their families. Our thoughts and prayers. We know that you are with those who lost their lives, and God, just be with their families to relieve their sadness, in due time as they continue to mourn. And God, I just pray that you protect these people tonight. Keep these storms elevated, and don't let them become surface based. And God, just continue to give me the right words next couple days to protect people. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, we will see you guys at 10 o'clock on NBC and ABC. See you in a little bit.